Welcome back to Your Lake Fork Guide and another episode of the Guides Network. Today we're going to be talking about a current topic. We always try to keep it current on this channel, and today we're going to be talking about, man, I don't even really know what to call it, but it's going to be how to catch those fish that are chasing bait right after the spawn on grass flats. Found her?
Number 5.
Pretty close.
4 to 5.
Yeah.
Good solid fish.
And there she goes.
Oh,
Lazy.
there you go.
Lazy girl.
Lazy.
All right, first things first. This Friday, May the 12th, be sure you come to Lake Fork Tackle. We're doing the free seminars again. Appreciate you guys coming out the last time that did. Want to see more faces this time. So tell all your buddies, get everybody there. Let's make it a big event. We're going to keep doing these. Try to do them every other Friday. So this Friday, May 12th at 6 p.m., Lake Fork Tackle in Emory, Texas. Come see me. Next thing, bassbug.com. We did the promo for April. The site grew a lot. We got a lot of new members in there, but we need more. So all you guys that are seeing this video, if you're not checking out bassbug.com, do me a favor, go over there, sign up, log in, ask your questions, hit me up. All my videos get posted there as well. I'll be happy to answer any questions. I check that thing on a daily basis. So go check us out at bassbug.com, an awesome online community for outdoors. Well, all right, now we got the business taken care of. Let's get down to the task at hand, which is catching bait chasers right after the spawn on grass flats. So, you know, it's kind of that situation where there'll be schools of bait, those shad are spawning in that grass, their babies are starting to try and hatch a little bit, and there'll be schools of small bait fish roaming around these grass flats, and these fish will be chasing them down, working their way, pinning them up against these grass clumps, and sometimes you'll even see them schooling on them in the evening times, and it's not full on like fall schooling, but you'll see them busting on them quite a bit. And so there's a variety of baits that we go about, that we use to go about this. I'll go ahead and tell you, the ones that I use the most, and it's because we're fishing grass. And when I'm fishing grass, I really like those areas where there's 2 or 3 different kinds of grass. Right there, you guys see cattails, and I don't know if you can see it, but right over there, there's some gator grass, and underneath us, there's coontail. I like those type of areas that have multiple types of grass. For that reason, I like the weedless approaches. That's when I'm going to go to that Lake Fork Tackle Frog. When I'm doing this pattern right here, this is my favorite one by far over the others. That's because I can get it to kick the right rhythm. It has a good action at a fast retrieve, and this is a fast retrieve type of deal. That horny toad just kind of skids across the water, and that ribbit doesn't really kick right. It fouls up when you try to burn it too fast. So this one right here, it's the right bait, Lake Fork Tackle Frog. I use 2 colors. I use watermelon red and I use white. Watermelon red I use about 90% of the time. Every once in a while I'll use white. The other thing, same frog, and they actually sell these set up just like this off the counter at the Lake Fork Tackle store. But it's the same frog, and you just put a little light, like 16th ounce belly weighted hook on it, and then it's got a blade that comes with it. You can buy these contraptions from Lake Fork Tackle just like this, and that is a great little tool for this high-speed grass retrieve as well. Then, of course, you can also use the hollow body frogs. Now, this is not going to be your normal hollow body frog situation. I'll have to show you guys how to do the retrieve on this one later, because it's completely different than what you normally do with a hollow body frog. The other one is this. This is a swim jig. The skirt, like you can tell we've been catching fish on it because the skirt is jacked up, man. Casey Sobzak, 6 Sense Divine Swim Jig. Hey, Casey, send your boy some more jigs, man. This thing is looking ragged. Again, I'll show you guys more on the retrieve, but it's going to be a burn retriever. You're going to be kind of skidding it across the surface, across that grass. And then, of course, the bait that's probably designed the most for this is a buzz bait, because that's what you're doing with all these. You're buzzing them across the surface. With all the heavy vegetation that I'm throwing it in, that buzz bait can be kind of a pain to deal with sometimes. But that's why I use this one right here. This is Papa's Pro Buzz from papasbaits.net. And he makes that single inline type design. And that really helps that bait come through the vegetation. It still hangs up more than, say, a frog does, or even the swim jig. That blade gets that grass wrapped around it, fouls the blade up. But it's better than your normal buzz bait for vegetation. That's why I fished that one. But most of the time, honestly, if I'm being honest with you, I'm using these other techniques for this particular pattern. I think there's some frogs in here. What do y'all think? Rod, reel, and line. On my frogs, all of them, each and every one of these frogs, I'm using a 7.4 heavy Limit 5 series. The best frog rod that I've ever put in my hands, there is no doubt. I sleep with this thing beside my bed at night. That's how much I love it. So, great frog rod. 50-pound braid. That's what I typically go with on those. That's just old Power Pro braid. And, yep, reels, whatever you're comfortable with. You're not moving the bait with the reel handle. In all honesty, it's best to have a high-speed reel. That way you can take up slack when one bites it. But you're moving the bait with your rod on these frogs. Now, with these other ones, you're moving it with your reel handle, and it still helps to have, I like to have a 7-to-1 gear ratio on this pattern, because you'll see here in a minute, it's a high-speed deal. Buzz bait I throw on the same setup as the frogs. Helps me rip it through the grass when it gets hung up. The swim jig, however, the swim jig I throw on, I'm throwing it on the Flora Hybrid Pro Lake Fork Tackle line, 22-pound test, and I'm throwing that on the 7.2 medium heavy Limit 5 series as well. That is the right setup for your swim jig all the way around. I mean, no matter what I'm doing with the swim jig, I love this setup for it. 7.2 medium heavy, 22-pound FHP Lake Fork Tackle Flora Hybrid Pro. Cannot beat that setup right there for a swim jig. Alright, types of areas. I already kind of mentioned it. I want to see that grass blend. I want that gator weed, that emergent vegetation that's coming out off the bank, that bank grass. If I can find some cattails, I love those. And of course, the one thing that you must have is underwater vegetation, submergent vegetation. Coontail, hydrilla, milfoil. Right now, what I'm fishing is coontail. That is what allows this pattern to work, because that's what gives those fish room to chase that bait down, because that grass that's underwater spreads out way further than that stuff on the bank, and it gives those fish a lot of room to chase that bait and still have ambush points and alleys in all that coontail. So that is the key number one importance. It's going to be the flats and the backs of these spawning pockets is where this is going to occur, but beyond that, you got to find the flats in the back of the spawning pockets that have a lot of coontail or some type of submergent vegetation, underwater vegetation. And as an added bonus, it's good to have, a different type of emergent vegetation blended in there with it as well. And you'll see on the video, we definitely have a lot of grass around us, all different kinds. So that's kind of how I key in on what I'm, the areas that I'm looking for. You got to find the grass. You find the grass, you'll find the bass. You've heard that a million times, but hey, there's a lot of truth to it. So, one more tackle tip for these frogs. I want to throw a weightless 5/0, and you can even get away with a 6/0 EWG style hook. I believe this one might be a 4-aught. It's a little smaller than what I like. I like that hook point to come all the way back right there to where the legs split. I want the bend of my hook to actually be right back here. So if this is a 4-aught, it's a little too small. A 5-aught or 6-aught is best for those Lake Fork tackle frogs. All right, guys, now I'm going to jump up and show y'all a few retrieves on how we go about this. Y'all ready for this? Yeah, that was lame. Lost my crock. Lost my crock. Crikey. Crikey. I lost my crock. Yeah. All right, let's get you boys up here where you can see what he say, what he say. Okay, so that was a lot of different baits. But the good part is it's just a few different retrieves. This retrieve right here works for this, the buzz frog, and the buzz bait all go on the same retrieve right here, and it's real simple. You just want to throw it out there and reel it in. You just want to make sure that you're keeping those legs kicking, keep them kicking, keep them kicking, keep them kicking. Just keep it coming to the boat. And you can really burn it about as fast as you want to, man. You don't have to. You don't have to slow down. You really want to get that bait out there and cover as much water as possible. So reeling it fast. This is a 7-to-1 ratio reel, so this is burning it right here, believe it or not. When you got that, you want to hold that rod tip. That's the other thing too. When you're burning these baits across the surface, you have to hold that rod tip up to help you keep them from sinking. Now, the faster you reel, the lower you can hold your rod tip, and that gives you more leverage on your hook sets. So if I want to reel faster, I point down. And that'll let that bait move even faster, and that'll give me more leverage on my hook set right there. Oh, and if I do want to slow it down a little bit, you find they want a little bit slower that day, you just pick that rod tip up, let you slow it on down. Show you guys what it looks like in the water real quick. And you just point at it and keep it reeling, it'll come right through all that grass. Hopefully you guys can see that okay, that frog just a kicking, just a kicking. See how that Lake Fork tackle frog just keeps kicking no matter how fast you bring it in? That sucker will spit some water at them at high speeds. That's exactly what you want. You want that frog kicking up water, making a disturbance, spitting that water. Spitting that water. Yeah, boy. So on the swim jig retrieve, it's going to be basically the same. The difference being that you want to wake this bait a little bit. When it's in all this heavy vegetation, you got to keep it right on the surface and skim it just like the frog. But you actually want to wake it just a little bit when you get to the open water areas. And this is really the ideal bait for that grass, that coontail moss that's outside of all this emergent vegetation that we see here. That submergent underwater vegetation that we're talking about. When you get in those big expansive areas of that and they're out there chasing that bait around, man, you can throw this thing a long ways, and you can cover a lot of water really fast by just kind of waking this bait right on the surface. You want to make that little weed guard right there look like a shark fin. Just barely have that weed guard sticking out of the water and burn that joker back to the boat. And as always, the higher you hold your rod tip, the slower you can reel it slower and keep it up. The lower you hold your rod tip, the faster you have to turn it to keep it up at the surface, okay? So there you go, that's my swim jig bait chaser retrieve right there. I'll show you guys what it looks like in the water real quick. Even though it's got a messed up skirt, we'll show you what the swim jig looks like coming through there. With the swim jig, you just want to kind of wake it right on the surface. Right there, y'all see that waking? Y'all see that waking? Almost what you want to do is take that weed guard right there. The swim jig's got that weed guard on it. Y'all see that? What you want to do is take that weed guard and make that look like a shark fin on that Jaws movie. Everybody watched Jaws and got scared when they were a kid. Stick that weed guard up out of the water like a shark fin. Da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da. Da-da-da. Just like that. That's how you do it. And you can run that through all that thick stuff. I'll throw it way up in that thick stuff, and it'll just burn right on through it like that, guys. Never hangs up. Just keeps on coming. Like a little wake bait, like a wake swim bait. Soft plastic, weedless grass style. Not many people do that technique. Doesn't seem to be a real popular tool to throw up in the grass, but I find that I catch a lot of fish on it on those tough days when they're not biting them frogs and buzz baits. I'll catch a lot of fish on that swim jig burning it through that grass like that. You'll see how thick of stuff I can pull that thing through? Put it that thick stuff and it just comes right on to me. go. This is the most unique one right here. This is the hollow body frog. This bait right here, this is a very aggressive retrieve. I'm really gonna snatch and pop that bait. I'm snatching, popping, snatching, popping, snatching, popping. I'm just constantly, you guys see my hands? I'm just constantly popping that slack, popping that slack, popping that slack. And I'll show you the retrieve on the water here in a minute. You guys will see that frog is throwing water. I mean, it is throwing some water big time. And that's what you want. You want to cause a lot of disturbance. You want that frog to keep moving real fast across that surface. They approve. Hey, Billy tested, frog approved right there. Yeah, you really want to work that thing aggressive, fast and aggressive, because you want that bait coming across the surface, causing a lot of disturbance and moving really quick. That way they never get a good look in it, and it just forces them into reacting on it. And this one right here, on this pattern, that technique and that retrieve is the one that's going to catch you a big fish right there. And you guys will see, old Rob Turkler from Lunkers TV, he caught the biggest fish of the day, and that was what he caught it on. He was, you'll see him, he's working that bait pretty quick, and that fish just blew up on it. And it was a pretty big explosion. You guys will be able to see it because he was wearing that chest mounted GoPro there. So you guys will be able to see that fish blow up on it. But it was a pretty intense moment, to say the least, and that's exactly the kind of bite you get on that bait and that retrieve when you're using this pattern right here. The old Spro Frog's a little bit different on this deal, okay? What you gotta do on that Spro Frog, and you'll see what it looks like right here. See, we talked about how we point the rod out and just keep it popping, you just keep it coming. It's just making a lot of water disturbance. This is gonna be by far your most aggressive reaction strike. This is gonna catch your biggest fish on this pattern. It's gonna be this frog, you know, ripping it back to the boat real quick like we're doing here. So you just, I mean, you can make big splashes with it. Don't be scared to get real aggressive with this one. Y'all see how much water I'm throwing up right there? Don't be scared to get super aggressive with this. Oh, took on some water. My hook got fouled, one or two, let's see. Old hook got fouled. That was taking on a little water. He's been chewed up a little bit. Yeah, don't be scared to throw some water. It will catch fish. I know this seems crazy, but this does catch them. You guys will see in the video one where you can see me just working my rod like this, and then bam, I set the hook on it. And he had it choked. So don't be scared of that retrieve, even though it's a little crazy.
Are you listening? Damn.
Tournament guys, I bet y'all are jealous of that one. Look at that.
Oh, bass. That is.
That's a bass. That's a good fish.
Oh. What's up, frogfish? There we go. Look at her, dude. She choked the crap out of that one. Ah! There we go. Start the morning off with the frogfish.
Go. Pretty good way to start the morning, bud. Yeah, ball fell. Well, there you go. Another Guides Network episode. Sure hope y'all enjoyed that. Hope maybe it taught you a couple little subtle tricks, you know, that I've learned over the years. I fish shallow water a lot. It's where I'm most comfortable. A lot of guys starting to catch them out deep yet. I'll be the last one up here in the dirt. That's just how I'm made. And yep, that's a couple of pretty I wouldn't say top secret, but there are a couple things that I do that seem to be a lot different with how fast I'm retrieving those baits in this situation, and using that you know, that hollow bodied frog almost like a buzz bait, and then the swim jig using that almost like a buzz bait. I really don't know a whole lot of people that do that, so it might be something you can take to your lake and be completely unique to you on that body of water. And if it is, well, you better have your knot tied good, because it's going to get nasty. So we hope y'all enjoyed that. We appreciate you guys watching Your Lake Fork Guide as always. Tell all your buddies. Help us grow this channel. We want to make this one of the biggest fishing YouTube channels that there is if we can, and it's all up to you guys. We really appreciate everything you've done so far, the growth that we've received so far. And if you got anything that you want to see, that you want to learn about, I know you guys want to see some electronics discussion and some offshore stuff. It's just not that time for me yet. As soon as we get to that time of year where I'm catching them out there, I'll be more than happy to share my knowledge with you. But if you guys can think of anything else that you want to learn right now up in the shallow grassy water that we're fishing, please let me know, and I'll be happy to do a episode on it. And I guess other than that, we will see you guys next time right here on Your Lake Fork Guide.